Welcome to the first episode in a Legendarium series about the life of William the Conqueror before 1066. In part 1, we will talk about the early years of William the Conqueror and how a civil war in Normandy shaped both his character and his rise to power. Descended from a Viking colonist turned warlord named Rollo the Walker, the rulers of Normandy were a ferocious and battle-hungry bunch. When Duke Richard III took power in 1026, his younger brother Robert rebelled against him. Robert's rebellion ended in failure, and Richard celebrated by marrying Adela, the daughter of the King of France. Luckily for Robert, his elder brother died only a year into his reign. Some chroniclers believe that Robert poisoned big brother Richard, but that is impossible to know for certain. In any case, Robert became Duke Robert the Magnificent and married Princess Astrid of Denmark. Of course, a little thing like marriage didn't stop Duke Robert from enjoying himself with other women. In time, Duke Robert's wandering eye fixed upon Herleve of Falais. Though sometimes described as the daughter of a tanner or embalmer as a way for highborn chroniclers to mock William, her father was in fact a wealthy merchant in Rouen who served as a chamberlain in the ducal court. According to the Norman chronicler William of Malmesbury, Robert saw Herleve as she danced at court and became so smitten with her that he took Herleve as a concubine. Another story has Duke Robert happening across Herleve as she bathed. In any case, the Dukes of Normandy often took mistresses alongside their wives, hearkening back to their Norse ancestors taking many wives. In stark contrast to his forebears, however, Robert remained faithful to Herleve as if she were his wife, though one wonders how the Duchess Astrid of Denmark felt about such faithfulness. When Herleve readied herself to give birth sometime in the late 1020s, she dreamed that her intestines stretched out from her body and extended over the whole of Normandy and England. When she gave birth to the baby, he grabbed the carpet rushes on the floor, an omen that he would grasp all that she dreamt of. Upon seeing these omens, the midwife proclaimed that baby William would not only be Duke of Normandy, but King of England. Of course, these prophecies would have been written after William conquered England, so who is to say for certain? This illegitimate birth would not have been a serious problem for William during his life. Despite Duke Robert's devotion to Herleve and their son, as well as an illegitimate daughter named Adeliza, he never married Herleve. Instead, Duke Robert married off Herleve to one of his subjects, a Norman nobleman named Count Herluin de Conteville, a few years after she gave birth to William. By the standards of the time, this was an honor for all parties. There, William grew up in a rough-and-ready timber hall built upon a mound of packed earth amongst hard-fighting knights. William's half-brothers by Herluin de Conteville included a veritable who's who of what would become Norman England, such as Odo of Bayeux and Count Robert de Mortain. Yet, William's life became far more complicated when his father died unexpectedly during the year 1035 while on pilgrimage to Jerusalem. Most likely, the Duke died in Asia Minor, and at the age of 8 years old, young William became Duke of Normandy. Fortunately for William, his father already secured oaths of loyalty from the barons to support William as his successor. Unfortunately, William remained a child, and so a guardian named Gilbert of Brionne ruled in his name. While Gilbert ruled Normandy, William's maternal family gathered around him to lend their support. His grandfather Fulbert joined him, as did William's uncles Osbert and Walter. He found further support from the Archbishop of Rouen, another uncle named Mauger. Indeed, William would need all the help he could get. In recent years, a series of strong dukes taught the Norman barons to love peace. and the more restless or impoverished went abroad to fight elsewhere and make their fortunes there. Yet transitions of power could often be dangerous times. As word spread of Robert's death, the Norman barons fortified themselves in their motte and bailey castles. Many feared neighbors who would use the power vacuum to settle old scores, or simply take advantage of the chaos to enrich themselves by looting. In 1040 AD, a civil war erupted in Normandy when rebel barons murdered Gilbert and then sought to expand their own lands, often by building castles. One baron named Roger de Tony was said to be so disgusted at the thought of being ruled by a bastard that he is said to have rebelled the moment he returned from crusading in Iberia. Little is known about these early years of Duke William's life, yet we can say for certain that since he remained a minor and stood to inherit the greatest fiefdom in northern France, everybody wished to control his guardianship. King Henry I had spies placed in the household of his regent, and young William himself frequently had to travel here or there, often with spies or assassins on his footsteps. History records at least one of his guardians being murdered by rebellious barons, who slit the guardian's throat as he slept at the foot of the young duke's bed. Finally, in 1047 AD, young William made his way to Paris to speak with King Henry I of France. He and his guardians negotiated peace with King Henry by promising to dismantle border forts in exchange for the king knighting Duke William. King Henry also promised William support in reclaiming his sundered inheritance. Of course, King Henry did not have the young duke's best interests at heart. He simply wanted a weak duke in Normandy that he could control. How will this play out? We will find out in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed this installment of the Legendarium. If you did, press like. If you want to see more, press subscribe. And if you've got anything to say, let me know in the comments section. Thanks again for joining me, and I hope that you have a great rest of the day.